Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new segment of mine. This is basically where I'm going to be reviewing some of the games I've LP'd before. The reason why I'm doing this is because usually at the end of those, I'm emotional or stressed or one of these things, and I've tried to give like a semi-coherent review, but it usually just ends up as a jarbled mess and not really how I want it to be. Or at least I don't feel like I'm presenting across or basically making my case for why I like the game or not. So here is basically where I'm going to try and do that. The game I'm going to be focusing on for the first one is Alone in the Dark, made in 1992 by Infogrames. It is kind of known as one of the first 3D polygonal, however you want to say it, survival horror games. Other like 3D games for that year are iRobot and Hard Driving. I've never played those either. It released on the MS-DOS 3DO and Mac, and apparently won a Guinness World Record for being one of the first survival horror games at the time. Now, this part I'm not really sure. I've never really heard this before, but apparently it was supposed to be part of Infogrames' Call of Cthulhu series, but I guess it just went its own way. It is a Lovecraftian horror game at its core with two playable characters, Edward Carnby being a withdrawn detective known as the Lizard, I believe. Pardon me, it's been a while. And the other being Elizabeth Hartwood, Jeremy Hartwood, which is the person who dies in the Deserto Manor, which is the location of the game, his niece. The game came on 4 floppy disks or a CD-ROM, and for your information, Infogrames is a European developer. Now, I think I've given enough background on the game. Let's get into the pros and cons of the games, the reasons why I like them. The presentation. The reason why is basically the background and the story the games give you. And by that I mean it does so in the books, and they're voiced in the CD version anyway, and the voice acting actually isn't bad. I thought it would be a lot worse, but for what it is and the time, it's actually quite good. You hear voice acting in games today, it's like, oh dear God, please shut up. And the books also do a good job in providing you hints for the puzzles, which we'll get to those. Let's talk about the combat now. It is simple and easy to use. Of course, I say this, if you watched, you know I struggled a bit with it, and I will get to why I struggled. Also, the interface. When you get into the menu, it's actually quite simple and clean. It doesn't have a lot of flair, nor really any color, but it works, and it's not a hassle to go through, really. Now let's also talk about the background and the music. Of course, the models were the 3D polygonal ones. The background was pre-rendered. At least a lot of it was, I believe. And it looks good. There's some that I've actually played some games where the backgrounds look really, really bad. None I can actually remember at this moment. Also, just kind of a self-realization. You'll have to pardon me if I say or like a lot. It's a very bad habit, and I am trying to kick it. The music. That was not an The music. I actually like it. It's quite spooky. It has a nice melody, and it actually fits the game really well. And well, what more can you ask for? The puzzles. These are actually not horrible. Some seem a bit cryptic than others, and my memory fails me at this point, but I do remember the books actually giving you a lot of information, pretty much giving you the clues to what you need, and I only remember struggling with one part, which again I'll get to that in my cons. So yeah, those are what I like about the game. Now let's talk about the cons. Alone in the Dark does not hold up well. it's still fun for me to play. I enjoyed it, even if I look like I got frustrated. I did enjoy it, but uh, it does not hold up well. If you're really interested in graphics, you're gonna miss out on a good game, or at least a decent one. Now let's talk about. Well, what am I saying? I'm already talking about the things I don't like. Let's move on to inventory. The reason why I don't like that is, my God, is the inventory management bad? Now, if you're wondering why, or if you just didn't watch my LP of it and are just listening to this, basically, Carnby has a weight limit in this. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Carnby has a weight limit in the game, and that doesn't really help. Now, if you look at future games like Resident Evil, they kind of made it clear you had like 6 or 8 item slots to put items in. Some took up more, but basically, for the first game of its time like this, it doesn't really give you any clue or idea that you're gonna have this problem. Also, the keys look alike, and in a survival horror game, that's bad. You could have labeled the key. They could have labeled the keys better. Yeah. Alright, bosses. The one real boss in the game, which is the pirate boss, and I do apologize for the jump cut. This is very horribly unprofessional of me. Basically, I forgot to write down the name of the main villain. Basically, what I was trying to tell you is that the pirate guy, the one who apparently magically could be hit by swords but not bullets, he is the ghoul of a man named Prexit, and I do not know how to pronounce his name. You'll have to forgive me. He is cheap, very cheap. He is faster than you are, and it's just an annoyance. Okay, then let's also talk about the models. Or I would, but I was poking around because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't talking about my ass when I was talking about the models. And the reason is 1992. That's all there is. It was one of the first couple 3D polygonal games. I can't give it any shit. Like I said, it doesn't hold up well now, but 1992. Let's go on to the next one. Camera. My God. The camera fucked me over hard, and how. It's not like too horrible, and you can say what you want about isometric games with the camera angles, but for that one part where I could not find the door, oh God, I wanted to beat the developers. So yeah. Also, and this is kind of files into what I was talking about combat earlier, it can make it kind of hard to hit the enemies, and really that's not really good. The next thing is the hit detection, which is not bad, but a bit iffy. What can I say? Again, 1992. And this next part is really one of the bigger problems with it. It's small and it's only at one part, or at least I only noticed it at one part. The game fucks you over in the cellar with a woodchuck. Basically, you get to a point where you have to go in the cellar, and in order to escape after you beat the final boss, if you don't pull that chuck blocking the barrels to your escape, you're fucked. That's it. And if you saved, you're going to have to start over again. Which is, again, why multiple save files. They are your friends. Which is why I did that. So, yeah. Honestly, I don't think the game does a whole lot of things right, but it does enough so to actually make me enjoy it. I mean, I do not. What should I say, really? I don't really have any bad feelings towards it. And to be honest, it's a good game. Something I kind of glossed over in the beginning, which again I had in my notes, but I guess I just skipped it. Edward Carnby becomes the main character of the series. Emily Hartwood does not show up again, and there's only one other game where you don't play as Carnby, and that is a kind of spin-off called Jack in the Box, I think. Jack in the Dark, something like that. So overall, would it be a game I recommend to people? Only if you're a really big fan of horror games. Because otherwise this game doesn't really do much to would really do anything better than what's on this these days. And that's really a stupid thing to say, but you know, what can you do? So yes, thank you for listening, I guess. I have to attach this to a video for watching, I guess. I do apologize if my commentary for this isn't as good as it could be. This is my first time doing this, and you know, it's just a thing you really have to kind of grow into, I suppose. And I'm not really used to actually writing down a lot of stuff to talk about. I try and not go off the handle. I try and talk about things on the fly, but apparently being organized is a lot better. Who would have thought? So thank you for listening, watching, however you want to prefer it. And next time I talk about the abomination and sometimes good game that is Shogo Mobile Armor Division. When I decide to record that, I don't have a clue. I thought this was going to be 5 minutes, but it turned into 12. God. And if you listen through all of this, bless you for putting up with me. Till next time, till then, I don't even know if I want to put catchy music in this. Not that I can anyway. Don't know how yet.